Hey, it's Donnie the Body Man again. Today I want to talk to you about mudslinging. I am not a political person, so when I say mudslinging, it's got nothing to do with politics. It's got everything to do with body filler. I refer to body filler, Bondo, whatever you want to call it, as mud. I'm not alone in this. It's a somewhat common term to describe body filler. This, I think, is one of the most important points that I will try to get across with this YouTube channel. The whole thing about mudslinging is it's where you make the most money. It is like, as far as what they call a profit center, the straightening, working mud, filling dents, you get the point. That's where it's at. That is the way you can just tear it up. It's really not the same with swapping out parts. I mean, sometimes you make good money swapping out a part, but you should be able to very consistently make money slinging mud. Now, when you first get into it, it's like when you first start learning to do body work, you know how it is. I mean, it's like you gotta it takes a little time to figure out how to get it just right. And the way to become a mudslinger is you just gotta work at it every day. But it's kind of like being an old west gunslinger. You can get fast, and that's why I like to call it mudslinger. If you're straightening really fast, I like to call that mudslinging. Now, another aspect of the mudslinger term is, I was a gunner's mate in the Navy, and I spent well over a decade with naval special warfare, with the special boat teams. They were special boat units when I first got there, but it's and I earned a expeditionary warfare specialist pin, which I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with that. But what I'm trying to say is, I spent a lot of time shooting, and I spent a lot of time teaching people, coaching people how to shoot. And there's a correlation between, I will say, shooting a pistol. Rifle, not so much. That's a different thing. But when you're shooting a pistol, you find a pistol that fits your hand right. For me, it was the SOCOM 45. I've got a big hand. SOCOM 45 is a big gun. It fit my hand perfectly. But our standard sidearm was a SIG P226. The point that I'm trying to get to is there's a way you hold the gun, and there's a way you hold your DA, which is what you should be using when you're blocking your mud. It's like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this like where people can understand what I'm talking about and thinking in a video. It's kind of like, to me, it's like breathing. But I promise you, if you go out on YouTube, you are going to find videos about how to breathe. It's going to have something to do with hypertension or high blood pressure. I don't know, maybe transcendental meditation. I don't know. But I guarantee you, you will find somebody out there trying to explain to you how to breathe. And I am trying to explain in a video how to block your mud. My go-to is a 6-inch palm sander. Dynabrade is the brand I use. But I grew up watching Senior work mud with a pistol grip. I can't even remember the brand off the top of my head, but it's a different thing. I never would have been able to block mud the way I do with that DA, that pistol grip DA, even though I used it for many, many years before I was introduced to the Dynabrade palm sander DA. I also use my MA a lot now. That is not something I'm used to doing, but I was working at a dealer, used car dealer. I needed a MA. I wasn't really excited about it, but I bought one off the Snap-on truck, and as luck would have it, that is just like the best MA. Or when I say MA, what I'm talking about is an 8-inch orbital sander. It's not going to be hard to figure out what I'm talking about. It's like a pistol grip DA, but it's just, instead of being 6 inches, it's 8 inches, and it's got a more aggressive cut. I love blocking with that MA. And it's like, it's just like, I really, at this point, I could not live without it. If something happens to that one, I'm gonna have to get another one to replace it, because I just can't live without it. I can block too much, too fast with that MA. Now, there's also the 3-inch DA. I was at an ICAR bumper class the first time I ever saw one, and the instructor was, showing us, giving us a demonstration. I saw that 3-inch DA, and I'm like, I gotta have one of those. So those are my 3 primary blocking tools: the 6-inch Dynabrade DA, the 8-inch Snap-on MA, and I think mine's a Chicago pneumatic 3-inch DA. But I mean, it all depends on the panel and where you're trying to block. I mean, I block my mud and my primer with it. But that is the whole thing about mudslinging in a nutshell. Like I said, senior was just like really fast, and there were just years that went by, decades even, where I was just like in awe of him working the mud with the DA. And when I switched over to the 6-inch Dynabraid, I realized that for me, the cut is just a little less aggressive where it worked for me. And having done that for a couple of decades with that 6-inch Dynabraid, it's like I said, the closest thing I can compare it to in my experience is shooting a handgun. And it's all about muscle memory. If you're not familiar with the term muscle memory, it's something I would like to encourage you and try to explain to get that concept down. But once you get that muscle memory, it becomes like breathing. It's a part of you. It's just comes so naturally. And as far as especially shooting, if you get a bad muscle memory, I can tell you from experience, it is so hard to break that bad habit muscle memory. Like I said, I trained a lot of people, I coached a lot of people, but I also got schooled as well. I was fortunate enough to have occasions where a Navy boat guy, a SWCC, Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman, dirty boat guy, whatever you want to call him, I had training by them on the range with the handgun, and also Navy SEALs. And there were times when they wanted me to do one thing and my hand wanted to do something else. And it was like my hand had a mind of its own. And that's all because of muscle memory. When you do something over and over and over, you get that muscle memory, and once that gets set in place, it is like pulling teeth, I swear, to try to break that muscle memory, that bad habit you've got. And I mean, and sometimes I'm not even going to say it's a bad habit. For example, when I first joined the Navy, one of the first things they taught me was to shoot weak-handed. Now, I came into a situation when I was training down at Blackwater, and they wanted me to shoot left barricade strong-handed, where it would just be made more sense to me to shoot left barricade weak-handed. And I'm not going to tell that whole story, let's just say we ended up, a Master Chief Navy SEAL spent almost half an hour, 45 minutes trying to explain to me that in a combat scenario, I wasn't gonna think to switch hands to the weak hand, but I disagree. Getting back to mudslinging, this is just something that is going to make you really fast at blocking mud. There's no two ways about it. This is something you want to be doing. You want to be mastering that blocking with the DA concept, because it is just fast. And then you, my friend, will be a mudslinger. Have a nice day.